Taylor Shire, Regina Leader Post, sports editor, covers the Riders. He's from practice. Taylor, do you want to start with the Riders, or can I get the thoughts on the Stanley Cup playoffs first? Your thoughts on this Final Four and the hockey that we've seen the last 6 weeks, 2 months?
Can I actually go back and touch on what you and Dukes were just talking about, Jessica Campbell? Can we start there?
Sure. Yeah.
She's actually the pride of Rocanville, Saskatchewan. So I know her well. She's a couple years younger than me, but grew up with her. And I have no doubt she's the most qualified person for this job. And I would challenge people to just look at her resume. Don't look at her gender and see what she's done in the past. She's coached overseas. She's played for Canada's national women's team. She started her own power skating school in Kelowna, and then got NHLers coming to her, asking for her to coach them. So if you just look at her track record, then obviously coached Germany at the World Men's Championship. She's got the opportunity at Coachella Valley. So if you look at just her resume, she's clearly one of the most qualified up-and-coming assistants that will get a chance, regardless of her gender. So, Jessica, a great person off the ice, but I think a great person, I guess, on the bench as well. So I hope that she does get the opportunity for her, for women, but just because she's a good coach and a good person overall. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents on that before we get going.
Thank you, Taylor. Well, hire her then. And by the way, she's not just the pride of Rocanville, as are you, as is that hunka burnin' love Rory Allen, as I found out last week. Yeah, buddy. Did you know that? Anyways, how's Rider training camp been, Taylor? Yeah, how's training camp been and the preseason?
Yeah, I think it's been entertaining. Obviously, there's a new vibe around this team with Corey Mace coming in. It's kind of a weird end to the preseason. Usually, this team's preparing for one more preseason tune-up before the regular season begins. They played both their preseason games last week, so this week feels a little bit different. It's sort of just like waiting cut-down day on Saturday. The roster cuts are made, so some rookies, first-year guys, bubble guys, make that final impression. The veterans I think are taking it a little bit easy, because then they're going to wrap up next week in preparation for Edmonton. I would say all eyes are still on the backup quarterback battle. All looked good this week at practice. Obviously Shea Pedersen, Mason Fine probably looked the best with their opportunities in the preseason games, or at least the second game at Edmonton. So it'll be an interesting day come Saturday when they have to make the cuts and see who's become the job.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, this is for all the Rider fans watching and CFL fans in general. The story I'm seeing coming out of Riderville is this backup quarterback job behind Trevor Harris. Do me a favor, Taylor, and please tell me, what are the other stories besides that backup QB2 job battle?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one, like you said, but American receiver is another interesting one. We know Sean Bain Jr., Jared Stern's likely going to be the 2 Americans. So who's that third American? It's likely going to be a rookie. Keyshawn Johnson, former NFLer, has taken the most reps. He looked pretty good in the preseason. But then Dante Myers, he has some experience south of the border. And then another name that I think some football fans are aware of is Geronimo Allison, the 30-year-old former Green Bay Packer. He's in camp as well. He looked good against Edmonton. So I think it's sort of between those 3 guys. One of them could be starting week 1, which we don't often see a rookie first-year player come up here. I guess they're not really rookies if they have a ton of NFL experience. But we're going to see a first-year player probably start week 1. So that would be another close battle to keep an eye on as we get through training camp here. And then left tackle, I think that was a lot of talk going in. But Trevor Reed has really made a name for himself already in 2.5 weeks of camp, and I think he'll be the starter at left tackle in week 1. But that was a battle that we were certainly keeping a close eye on heading into camp.
If teams take on the personality of their coach, which I believe they do, what does that mean for the Rough Riders? What is that personality?
I think you're going to see a spirited bunch this year. I think they're going to be aggressive too, especially the defense. But with that, aggression, you have to also be careful that you don't cross the line in terms of being too aggressive. So I think you'll see an aggressive team that might even have to be reined in a little bit. Coach Mace, has always preached accountability, so that's going to be another thing. I think there will be some discipline, not necessarily issues, but corrections maybe in the first week when these guys are so amped up to get going, so amped up to to play that first game. I think he'll have to bring him in a little bit, and he's a pretty, he's a very, I guess I would call it, excitable coach. He really gets in there. Even at practice, he sort of gets excited and gets the guys fired up, whether it's bringing them in to midfield for a bit of a mid-practice huddle or just getting fired up on the sidelines as he's watching. So he's an excitable coach, and I think his players are feeding off of that. Now it's about, channeling all of that aggression and energy and keeping it, between the lines and not going over the line.
Okay, so I've been speaking on behalf of the goalie union here for the day. You're in the officials union. So what do you want to get off your chest about officiating in the Stanley Cup playoffs, please? What are your thoughts been?
It's fine. It's all good, except for it's all good. It's never going to be perfect. It's a tough job. We can say all that. I'm not going to criticize them because I know how hard of a job that is, to do it at, in Saskatchewan, let alone on the national stage, international stage, repping at the highest speed and the highest level. So, it's a tough job. And I honestly think that most of the guys out there are doing a good job. They're always sort of assessed by video review. So whether or not you like video review or not, I think that's always sort of in their back pocket. We don't have that in senior hockey in southern Saskatchewan, the opportunity to have video review. So that's certainly a bonus for them. But, you see them automatically review some of those 5-minute penalties. Obviously offside if it goes over the goal line are reviewed. But I think the opportunity to review some of those major penalties, that's a nice thing to have, and I think it adds a level of security in terms of making that call for these guys. So I'm not going to criticize the officials. I think they're good.
Guy, I feel like you felt I was leading you down a road of saying it was bad. I think it's been good too. I know that we're going to complain. We're always going to complain. That's sports fans, but I think it's been average. No worse, no better than ever. It is what it is. Okay, Taylor, I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for this, man. Looking forward to seeing you this summer.
Of course. Talk to you soon.
Taylor Shire of the Regina Leader Post, an ordained hockey official.